Hey friends, it's Friday, July 10th, and Sara Beth and I were hoping to have a baby to show off to you this week by now, but the bun is still in the oven, so I appreciate those of you who've reached out to us and asked for updates. Wish we had updates. We had a close call the other night. We actually thought she was going into labor, and we made the trip to Tulsa and stayed the night there, but it never happened, so... Anyway, we're ready. My mind has understandably been on babies and new life, and I'm just really happy that the coronavirus, as awful as it is, it doesn't seem to pose any threat to babies. I remember a couple of years ago when the Zika virus was going around and those babies with shrunken heads were being born, and I was thinking about just keeping Sara Beth indoors all the time so that no mosquitoes could ever bite her. So I'm glad. There are many things to be glad for. There are blessings every day. But anyway, I kind of thought it would be interesting. I was listening to some biblical experts talk about the miracle of childbirth. And of course, today we have a very deterministic understanding of what it is that creates and sustains life. And of course, what you learn in school is that a male gamete and a female gamete, a sperm and an egg, combine, and their chromosomes come together, and they make a new creature. And so that's what produces life, right? In the Bible, in Genesis chapter 4, that's when Eve and Adam have been kicked out of the garden. It says, chapter 4, verse 1, "Now the man, Adam, knew his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain, her eldest, saying, I have produced a man with the help of the Lord. And then she bore Abel, and the rest is history. Cain grows envious of Abel because of the Lord's feelings towards him, and Cain kills his brother Abel. But afterwards, after this whole thing is resolved, in verse 25 it says, Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and named him Seth. For she said, God has appointed for me another child instead of Abel, because Cain killed him." So the biblical scholar I was listening to contrasted that language of I have produced a man with God's help versus God hath appointed for me another child. And the thing he highlighted is Eve the first time took the credit and then gave some accolades to God. I've done it, God's helped me. The second time, or I guess rather the third, she acknowledges that God did all the work. And of course the Psalms provide wonderful language like that we are fearfully and wonderfully made in our mother's wombs, and that before our own mothers knew us, the Lord knew us, and the Lord knows the number of hairs on our head. There's a lot to convey that the author of our lives is not our parents, but is God. God appointed us to our parents. Parents are just stewards. That's all they are. I've stewarded Susanna and Jesse, and now this third one's on the way. And the temptation for me is to go, man, me and Sara Beth have made some good ones so far, haven't we? But the reality is God has appointed two wonderful children to us, and He's appointed a third to us. Now, what's this have to do with us today? I think there's a large sense of us having accomplished the good things in our own lives. I think many people carry the notion that that everything good that they have came from the sweat of their brow and the hard work that they have done. But a distinctly Judeo-Christian understanding is that God has given us every good thing in our lives, and that we really haven't created anything. God has bestowed upon us those things that we're stewarding. But if I look upon those things that are good in my life as a reflection of me and the good job that I have done rather than the good Lord who gave me those things, well, then I'm going to be rather entitled, aren't I? And I'm not going to glorify God for those things because I'm going to feel like I myself did them. So y'all keep me humble as I raise my children in the church. Help me to remember that I'm but a steward of these children and that God has created them. And, feel free to be in prayer for me, for my children, and for all children raised in our church. But also remember that in God's sight, all of us are children. And many of us have been done wrong by people who chose not to steward us. So let's be good to the next generation who need faithful stewards. It's not just parents who steward the next generation, it's all of us. And we, the body of Christ, are a family. So let's continue forward in boldness. We don't know what the future holds, but we know that God has entrusted many resources, many people to us. God is the author and the source of all good things. So praise be to God for his wonderful and manifold blessings. I hope that this message has been a blessing to you as you've been a blessing to me. And may the Lord bless and keep all of us as we seek to walk righteously in his sight. Okay, take care. God bless you, folks. Bye.